Well, hello. Welcome back to my channel. Just Shauna here to talk about a friggin' book. I talked about this book briefly in a recent wrap-up, but I wanted to do a spoilery review, a little bit more in-depth review, and that is The Guinevere Deception by Kiersten White. So this is an Arthurian legend, Camelot legend, retelling YA fantasy from the perspective of Guinevere, as you may have gathered from the title. And in this is spoiler free right here, but Guinevere is a changeling sent by Merlin to protect and help Arthur. So there's some magic happening, and in Camelot, magic has been banned, so Guinevere has to be really secretive and, you know, on the sly about any spying activity that she's doing, and yeah, hijinks ensue. So I really liked this, as I said in my other wrap-up. I'm gonna set it down because it's gonna get heavy and my wrist hurts. There is some diversity in the book with LGBT characters, not main characters, but some of the more important side characters, I would say. I mentioned also that the plot, the pacing of the plot lagged just slightly in the middle for me for maybe a couple of chapters. I could see that bothering some people more than it bothered me, where it's kind of like it was almost like a cyclical thing happening where it's like, okay, are we gonna do something different? But it only went on like too long for me for like I said, a chapter or two, and then things started changing up and I was fine. My favorite things about this, definitely Guinevere as a character. I thought that she was a very complex character. She had a lot happening and a lot going on internally, emotionally, and I thought it was really interesting seeing how she was handling everything and kind of her thought process changing and seeing that happen. She's a really strong character, but she's also very vulnerable at times. She has a debilitating fear of water and kind of gets like panicky and like a panic attack essentially when she is around water. And it was really interesting seeing that handled, and there's some things with that I'll discuss in a minute that I'm pretty sure I'm right, but I don't think it'll be revealed until the next book. I think I mentioned it in the wrap-up briefly that White set it up for great potential for girl hate in this book. Like, she set you up with a particular character who Guinevere, before having met this character, is being told by someone else that this woman threw herself at Arthur, like wound up in his bed, you know, just trying to be like, ooh, seducing him, and he was not about it, and that there's rumors and gossip about her around court, and nobody likes her because they think she's this hussy and whatever. And then Guinevere meets her and is instantly like enthralled with her. And this chick is being a bitch. Let me see if I notated it. I think I did. Yeah, right here. So they're meeting and they're talking, and this character Dindrain is kind of being sassy already. And then she says, Dindrain smiled tightly. The silence was as close and confining as the room. Finally, she leaned forward. Your hair is lovely. Is that the style in the South? It certainly is not the style here, but it suits you. I could never be so brave as to wear my hair like that. Dindrain's smile stayed firmly in place. Guinevere was positive she was being insulted. It was delightful. Everyone else was so careful with her, but Dindrain came prepared for battle. Have you always been so pale? Dindrain asked, tilting her head to the side. It does make your freckles stick out so, but the only solution is to spend more time in the sun, which will cause more freckles. Guinevere laughed. She could not help it. She had no desire for an enemy and no need to feel insulted. She suspected Dindrain could use a friend even more than she herself could. So, yeah, and then she's like, I like you very much, Dindrain. I hope you will let me visit you often, and I would love to have you visit me as well. Dindrain wilted, disarmed. You would? And then they become really good friends. And I just love that White wrote Guinevere this way, as like being discerning enough to see that this woman is just being kind of nasty because she has literally no friends. And it's like this armor that she puts up of being like this snotty, like, I don't care. And Guinevere saw through that basically and welcomed her and got a really good friend out of it. And I just love that. I love it so much. there were just so many little moments too that, and this is kind of the thing with Kiersten White's writing typically for me. Of the books I've read, I've loved most of them. There's only been one that I haven't. But like these little moments, like she's having like a panic attack basically from going over this water, and her, you know, lady in waiting, I think it's Brangian, I don't know, it's an Irish name at any rate, so I'm probably fucking pronouncing it really wrong. So yeah, Brangian stepped in front of her, blocking everyone's view and pretending to fix one of Guinevere's braids. "Take your time," she whispered. "Wait until you can breathe again. Wait until you can smile." She held Guinevere's eyes, and soon Guinevere could breathe. Soon she could smile. And I just like, it's such a small little moment, but I just love that, like the care given to that situation and that scene, and this character like giving such care to Guinevere. And yeah, I don't know, it's just like really sweet, and I liked it a lot. And I read The Once and Future King this past year, finally. Took me for fucking ever, but I did it. And so it was really cool seeing, and I'm a little familiar with Arthurian legend, but aside from reading that, not super familiar with it. But it was really cool seeing this other take on it. I mean, there's so many takes on it, and that's kind of what's fun about it, I think. But it was cool, like there's certain things that I think if you weren't familiar at all, it wouldn't be like as like fun. Just little things like this where we're talking about Merlin, and Guinevere says, or is thinking, she tried to have compassion for him. It was like he lived every moment of his life all at once, his mind slipping through time, which meant that he knew things were coming before they happened, but it also meant that he had a hard time landing on what needed to be said or done at any given time. And that's just such an accurate, I guess, description of Merlin and how he is. I love where this is going. Like I said, in this book in particular, there's LGBT rep just with side characters. But you guys, I hope you've read the book if you're watching this video, because it's spoilery, as the title implies. So if you haven't, stop watching, because I'm about to talk about some hella spoilers for the end. But so the biggest thing that I think probably most people know about the Arthurian legend is, you know, King Arthur and Queen Guinevere, and then Lancelot. Lancelot was Arthur's like shining knight of the Round Table. There was a bunch of them, but Lancelot was like the knight. And Guinevere and Lancelot have an affair. And I think that's like pretty common throughout. I don't know, I haven't read all of the fucking retellings of King Arthur. But I'm pretty sure that's like a common thread throughout. And in this one, we have a knight who we don't know who it is, and blah, 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 blah. And then Guinevere thinks this knight is like, you know, going to be a problem for Arthur, and why aren't they showing their face when they're doing their battles and stuff? Turns out it's because it's a woman, and I have an oh shit tab and a love it tab right here. "What is your name?" she asked the knight. The knight deftly guided her blind horse around an obstacle, her legs pressing against Guinevere's. "Lancelot, my queen." I was like, oh fuck, oh my god, I'm so excited, because we're set up in this book, you know, with Arthur and Guinevere basically having an arrangement to be friends. Arthur doesn't really think he can fall in love ever again. He doesn't feel that way necessarily about Guinevere. She doesn't necessarily feel that way about him, but she definitely yearns for love. And she thinks maybe it can come from him, but it's just not happening. And so, like, book 2, we gotta have this, right? Like, come on. And Lancelot has a great line towards the end, talking about like not going on a revenge mission, essentially, and like letting her like need for vengeance take over. And she says, "And so I decided that instead of becoming the warrior who would kill a tyrant, I would become the knight who would defend a king." And like, I just really love that. Super cute. And so I'm pretty sure that it's been like 2 weeks since I finished it, but like, my suspicion is that Guinevere clearly has something to do with the Lady of the Lake, obviously. And at first I was thinking she was the Lady of the Lake, and that's why she like couldn't remember anything. But then she kept having those like dreams and nightmares of being like trapped underwater. So then I was like, okay, I don't think she's the Lady of the Lake, because the Lady of the Lake wouldn't be like afraid of the water like that. And then when she witnessed the Lady of the Lake talking to Merlin, it definitely sounded like Guinevere was like hers somehow, and then that's how it ends with the Lady of the Lake, or I think, this is what I think, saying like mine in regards to her, in regards to Guinevere. So I don't know how or why, but I'm pretty sure Guinevere was just chilling at the bottom of the lake, kept captive. She's clearly some sort of magical thing. And then Merlin must have taken her to send her to Arthur. And it was to protect Guinevere. So I don't know why. Guinevere obviously is like hella important though. And I'm so fucking curious as to why. I need to know. But the next book I don't think is going to come out until like next fall, probably fall or winter. And so a bitch has to wait. On my 1 to 10, I gave this an 8.7, which is 4.5 pushinicorns. As always, thank you so much for your time. I hope that you guys have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.